What is growing on? I never thought I'd be making you guys this video. This has been a long thing in the making. Something that I've done here interesting, I've never done before, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was a lawn guy. Maybe I'm used to irrigation coming up out of the ground, but I've never done the overhead. And we've had a lot of issues with inconsistent water, some areas being dry, some areas being wet. And the main goal for this greenhouse is propagation. So we're talking cuttings, seeds, maybe things that are getting grafted and so on. Every one of those heads actually had a little shut off on them, ball valve. I'll pick one up and show you. So if I have an area over here I don't want to get water, I can shut that down. But what we've done here is I have one zone of 1-inch poly going down both of these, and those heads spray about 12 feet each. So we'll have some really nice overlap in here, probably a little bit too much. But these heads are the MaxiJet heads, which give a little bit of a mist. So I have the ability, and that kind of gives you guys a little bit of an idea what the head looks like. This is that weight that moves up and down. And this is the individual ball valve. We use these all the time, like on raised beds or bigger trees in pots if we want to control the flow. But on top of that, I also put a ball valve right here, giving us a little bit of flow control. So typically speaking, you almost want to reduce the pressure, I believe, to about 25 PSI for these heads. Probably gonna end up with about 30 heads here, way under what my my well puts out water-wise. So didn't need to have multiple zones inside of here. I actually have this on a single node right outside the door. I guess I could show you guys that real quick. Everybody always asks for the input on the irrigation. So, of course, most importantly, we've got hose bibs all over. We've got a hose bib on that end, we got a hose bib in the middle, we got a hose bib over there. Water is key. This still needs to go back on. That actually goes on this end over here to kind of help close that in. But we've had some issues now with the motor on both sides. Originally it was one giving me a hard time, now there's another one giving me a hard time. I think I'm gonna actually swap those over to a hand crank, but this is our little valve just set outside the door here. I did not have enough wires in my loom to tie this into my other zones on the property. And I have not even tied a Hunter node into this yet. So I thought the timer was in here. Ryan hasn't had a chance to install it yet. That's a latching solenoid. And these Hunter nodes run off of 9-volt batteries. They're great. But as you can see, we got a little bit of trimming to do on the plastic. This side's down. Everything turned out pretty well, and I can guarantee you, once I stick some irrigation heads in here, this is gonna fill up really quick. So give them a couple days. They wanted to have a little access path over there on the outside. Definitely stand in the blocks in the upright position, trying to get a little bit more height because we do ship a lot of stuff online. For nematodes, I have to be a minimum of 18 inches off of the ground. We find these plastic pallets work pretty good. I'm able to find these on Facebook Marketplace. Usually score these things for used to be $2, $5, $7. I've seen them for all the way up to $10. So just depending on how many you buy, who you buy them from, the deal you're going to get on them. They are difference in thicknesses sometimes, definitely a difference in quality sometimes. Some are thicker than others, so watch out. There's ultra cheap ones, there's kind of heavy duty ones, but compared to the wood ones, these guys are going to last. I've already had them for 8 years. This side is a thinner one. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that one's about 6 inches. And then when we come over here to this side, this one's probably about 4.5, 5. These ones definitely seem to sag a little more compared to the 6-inch ones. So makes a big difference when you get the thicker, stronger pallet. And what else we got going on out here? We did add a bunch of persimmons, peaches, and plums kind of in a line right here next to the greenhouse. We ended up with a very big bed. And I didn't want anything that's going to get too big here. It's going to eventually shade this, so I didn't want to put loquats or avocados or anything that could potentially, give us some afternoon shade on the greenhouse. I wanted something that we could keep pruned, that went dormant in the wintertime, kept small, and I don't have any stone fruits really in the ground here yet. So getting some peaches in the ground, getting some more persimmons in the ground, even though I have a couple. Next, I want to get some pears in the ground. But yeah, still lots of planting, still lots of smoked plants over here, guys. No lack of cold. The bananas definitely took a hit. Still kind of torn if I want to turn this into a garden plot, a syntropic area, more nursery, kind of on the fence with this area. Really uncertain what we're going to do over here. What I will say is I haven't had a single weed come through. This is where I put all the manure down underneath it. So there's probably some really rich, good soil underneath there. I think when we get into the spring, this is all going to get cowpeas. We grow a lot of sugar cane for propagation in between the bananas. A lot of these bananas were specifically put here just for propagation. Dwarf Namois being one of my most popular varieties. I wanted to have a bunch on site that we could just dig up pups and propagate them. So greenhouse is done. There's that other sprinkler head. I have not put the spouts on the gutters yet. I plan on putting the spout on there, kind of putting a banana pit over here, same thing on that side. And these ones I'm actually going to run across, and I'm thinking about just putting like a 6-inch pipe, because those pipes are already 6 inches. They're so huge. Bringing me out to the bananas and then just putting a soaker line going both ways. So idea being water comes down the gutter, comes into the soaker line and just drenches this bed, so we're not just soaking the ground over here. Already gonna have to worry about watering and, you know, ground getting wet and settling just from irrigation running in the greenhouse. So the least amount of water we can have impacting the area around here, the better. But greenhouse is done. Roof turned out awesome, went way better than expected. Obviously Hugh couldn't have done it without you. Leave me alone, I'm busy farming. Right hand man Ryan, Cisco, this was a definite group project, so looking pretty good though. Definitely glad to have this one behind me. All right guys, so the greenhouse is almost officially full. I'm gonna make you guys a quick video once I get it filled with plants, once I have the irrigation going, running, just kind of showing you how those things operate. It will not be long here before there is not an inch of space left in this greenhouse. So I'm gonna get back to the next video, get back to work. I hope you guys are doing well. It is mid-January. We are cold. If you guys have friends in Florida, check on them. Hopefully they're defrosted. It has been quite nippy this year, a little bit on the rough side, but it is 2026. You guys need to get out there, start a garden, rip that grass out. Don't be a grass hole. Pound some dirt, plant some fruit trees.